The knock on the heavy door came again. Carlos stood frozen outside the tall glass walls, pizza boxes weighing on his arms. He felt the glare of eyes behind him push him forward. He had delivered dozens of pizzas today, but this building was different. The lights inside were bright, and the guard's stern face told him he did not belong here. A tall woman came out. She wore simple clothes, but her eyes were soft when they met his. "Thank you," she said, taking a box. Her voice made his heart pound. He nodded and turned to go, but she called, "Wait, one more." He stopped. She handed him a small envelope instead of money. He cracked it open on his way down the marble hall. Inside was a note. "Come back every evening." He stopped breathing for a second. Every evening? For pizza? He looked back, but she was gone. That night, Carlos climbed back through the slick streets, past city lights, and the hum of traffic. He asked himself why he cared. He told himself it was just a rich girl's game. Still, he followed the note. The next day, she waited in the same spot by the door. She smiled as he handed her the pizza. "How many more days?" she asked. Her smile was small, nervous. "I don't know," he admitted. "As long as you want me to." She paused, then nodded. By the fifth night, they spoke for a full minute. She introduced herself as Lily. He shared that he had come from another country and worked hard to stay here. She told him she lived down the hall, in a big suite. She said nothing about her family. He only knew her name and her gentle eyes. The weekend came. No deliveries for a day felt odd, but he found himself waiting by her door anyway. Late at night, he heard music inside and saw shadows move. He almost left, but then she opened the door. Her hair was loose. She looked tired but relieved. "I missed you," she said. She reached for his hand. He froze, then let her take him inside. The suite felt empty of people, but full of things: soft couches, tall windows, and silver dishes. Lily led him to a small table in the corner. She opened a box and offered him a slice. He sat, surprised she had ordered his own pizza. "I wanted to see you eat," she said. He smiled. And at that moment, the building, the guards, and the price of living in this world faded. Their hands brushed as they ate. Carlos felt heat in his chest. She talked about her day at an event he did not understand. He told her he missed home and that his family was waiting far away. She listened as if every word mattered. They met again and again. Soon, he began to wait for those evenings more than sleep. She wrote little notes and slipped them under his arm. She told him stories about dresses and crowds he could not picture. He told her about the old bakery where he first learned to make pizza in his hometown. She imagined the smell and laughed softly. But trouble came like a storm. One night, two men in sharp suits blocked his way. They told him to stay away from Lily. He tried to explain. They shoved him against the wall and warned him, "Go back to your street, your blocks, your own kind. We don't want you here." Their words cut deeper than any blow. He held his breath until they left him bleeding on his own shame. He went home that night with a broken arm and a heavier heart. His small room felt colder. He wrapped himself in thin blankets and wondered why he risked so much for a girl born into a world he could barely touch. Lily waited as usual. She saw his bruises, and her eyes shone with worry. "They hurt you," she whispered. He shook his head, trying to smile. "I'm fine." He put the pizza box down. She pressed her palm to his cheek. The touch stung his healing skin but comforted his soul. "They will do it again," she said softly. "My parents will see me soon. They will know." Carlos looked at her, confused. "Your parents?" She looked away and fiddled with the tablecloth edge. "They want me to marry someone else. A boy from my father's circle. A man who spends my life deciding for me." He stood up, anger twisting in his gut. "Then fight them," he said. "Tell them you choose yourself." She shook her head. "They hold everything. My money, my home, my future. If I do, they will throw me out. I will have nothing but you," she sighed. But I love you too much to ruin your life. Carlos looked down at his shoes. He thought of his empty pockets, the letters he wrote home, and the small savings he hid under the floorboard. He thought of love, and if it was enough. Silence hung heavy. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out a key. Just in case, she said. For emergencies. He took it, his fingers brushing hers, and he swallowed hard. He did not know what to do with hope, but held the key like a promise. The next day, he did not sleep. He worked extra shifts. He delivered pizza to crowded blocks and lonely flats. He barely ate. He saved every coin. He dreamed of freedom. At night, he stopped outside her door. Sometimes he knocked. Sometimes he just waited. He always longed. One evening, a new face blocked his way. A security guard sneered. "No more orders for you," he said. Carlos tried to hand him the note from Lily. The guard tore it up. "Tell her to find another fool," he spat. Carlos pushed past, his heart pounding. That night, Lily did not come to the door. He waited until the guard came out and told him the truth. He could never see her again. Carlos felt his legs shaking. He wanted to scream, fight, and break the glass walls around him. But he turned and walked away. He found a dark corner on a busy street and sank to the ground. He cried until the street lamp flickered and died. He held the pieces of the torn note, pieces of his heart. He tried to stitch them back together, but the pain was too fresh. And still, he waited. Lily lay awake in her big bed. Her father's voice had thundered all night. She had begged, he had laughed, and signed the papers. The young son of his partner in business would save everything. He would bring new deals, new money. She would be safe, rich, and forgotten. She pressed her face into the pillow and thought of Carlos, his gentle voice whispering in her mind. She did not know what tomorrow would bring, and she did not know if she could bear the fight. But she loved him. And love, she realized, was the cruelest twist of all. The wedding was on a bright morning in spring. Lily wore a white dress that felt stiff and heavy. The church was full of guests in their best clothes. Carlos was nowhere to be seen. He had begged her to wait, to run away with him. But her father had locked down every option. She walked down the aisle alone, her heart pounding like a trapped bird. Across from her stood Marcus, the son of her father's business partner. He had a sharp jaw and a cold smile. He offered his hand to Lily, and she took it, her fingers trembling. The priest spoke words Lily barely heard. She kept seeing Carlos's face, soft eyes, and gentle smile. Every promise she had whispered to him rushed back like a storm. After they said, "I do," Marcus leaned in. "You look beautiful," he whispered. His voice sounded empty. Lily forced a smile. Around them, people clapped and cheered. She heard her father's proud voice. He had won. Marcus's family stood beside him, nodding and whispering congratulations. Lily felt a hollowness spread through her chest. The reception was loud and crowded. Carlos would never have fit here. He would never have worn these clothes or known these faces. Lily picked at her cake and sipped champagne she hated. Marcus watched her as if expecting her to laugh or dance. She felt trapped under the bright lights and loud music. Later, when the guests left, Lily found Marcus alone in their new home. He led her to a large room and closed the door. In the quiet, his smile turned harsh. "You should be grateful," he said. "Your father and I have big plans." Lily's heart sank. "I love someone else," she whispered. He laughed, dark and sharp. "Love? Love doesn't pay bills or close deals. You belong here now." He reached out and pushed her onto the bed. Lily froze as he stood over her. His touch was rough and unwanted. She felt fear burn deep inside her. She tried to pull away, but he held her down. "You will learn to obey," he said. His voice was cold metal. Lily closed her eyes and thought of Carlos. The memory of his gentle touch gave her strength. She kicked him off and bolted from the room. Marcus grabbed her wrist. His grip was tight. Lily cried out and yanked free. She ran down the hallway, her dress torn, her breath ragged. She hid in a closet, hands pressed to her chest, tears soaking her cheeks. After that night, life changed. Marcus visited only when work required. Most days, Lily stayed locked in her room. She tried to write letters to Carlos, but her father intercepted them all. He watched her every move. She had no phone, no friends, and no freedom. She walked the halls silently, her dress trailing behind her like a ghost's cloak. Meanwhile, Carlos struggled. He returned to the pizza shop, but he stopped caring about tips or smiles from strangers. He spent nights wandering the streets, searching for any sign of Lily. He asked neighbors, building guards, and anyone who might know where she was. Each time, he found only empty rooms and locked doors. He heard rumors of the lavish wedding but could not believe it. He refused to think that Lily had given up on him. One night, by a dim street lamp, Carlos found an old friend who worked in the building's maintenance crew. The friend slipped him a small paper with an address. "She lives here now," he said. "But don't go in alone. They will hurt you." Carlos clutched the paper and thanked him. His hands shook as he looked at the address. The next day, Carlos waited until nightfall. He changed out of his uniform and put on a dark hoodie. His arm still ached from the guard's last beating. He limped to the building, his heart pounding. He slipped past a guard by offering a fake delivery order and a shaky smile. Once inside, he slipped into the elevator and rode to the top floor. His breath caught when the doors opened. He peered down a long hallway. At the far end, a door stood slightly ajar. He crept forward. Through the gap, he saw Lily curled on a bed, her face pale and tired. Tears streamed down her cheeks. He pressed his palm to the wood and whispered, "Lily?" She sat up, eyes wide with shock. "Carlos?" Her voice cracked. He pushed the door open. They ran to each other and clung together, tears and relief mingling. He held her like he would break apart if he let go. "I thought you left me," she sobbed. "I never left," he said. "I never will." She wiped her eyes. "He hurts me. I can't breathe. I'm trapped." Her voice was small, broken. Carlos shook his head. "We'll leave. Now." She placed a hand on his cheek. "You can't. My father, he'll kill us both. You'll be—" "She can't keep us apart," he said. He whispered fierce words of hope and escape. Lily nodded, eyes shining with fear and longing. They made a plan. Carlos would sneak in each night and smuggle Lily through a service exit. They chose tonight. Lily would wait in the closet by the kitchen door. When the night guard changed shifts, he would slip in, open the door, and Carlos would guide her out. They had minutes, but it was enough. That night, Carlos crept through shadows and metal pipes. He found the service door. He picked the lock with trembling fingers. It clicked open. He slipped inside and ran down the hall. His heart pounded like a hammer in his chest. He reached the kitchen closet. Lily's breath fluttered through the crack. He pulled the door open. She stepped into his arms. He held her close, whispering that everything would be all right. Together, they slipped through the service corridor and down the stairs. They could see the street lamps ahead. A car waited, engine off. It belonged to Carlos's friend, the maintenance man. They reached the car. Lily sank into the seat. Carlos whispered the address of his small room. His friend nodded and drove off into the night. The cool air of freedom hit Lily's face. She leaned out the window, breathing deeply. Carlos sat beside her, hand on her knee. He drove through empty streets, past quiet buildings, past where they first met. Lily pressed her head against the glass, tears and relief blending. "I thought you'd never come," she said. Carlos glanced at her. "I promised I'd never leave you." He reached for her hand. She took it, fingers trembling. They arrived at Carlos's room. It was small, with 2 beds and a narrow hallway. He lit a single lamp. He turned to Lily, eyes full of worry. "We're safe here," he said. For now. She nodded, leaning on him. But outside, wheels turned in her father's mind. He would not let his daughter stay lost to him. He would send men to find her. He would use every resource he had, money, connections, threats. Lily and Carlos were free only for a night. Inside the room, Lily closed her eyes. She had run away, but she felt a weight settle on her chest. Carlos watched her, fear and love in his eyes. They did not know what tomorrow would bring. They did not know if this small room could hold back the storm that was coming. And neither of them saw the tall black SUV pulling up down the street. Headlights off, men gathering around with orders to bring Lily back, dead or alive. Carlos woke before dawn. Lily lay asleep on the small bed. He stared at her. He thought of their plan to start fresh, far away. He wanted to hold her forever. He touched her hand. She shivered and smiled in her sleep. He stood, careful not to wake her, and packed a small bag. He put on clothes, money saved from his shifts, and Lily gave him the key. Lily woke to light through the window. She saw Carlos folding towels. "What is it?" she asked. He looked up. "We leave now," he said. "I found a bus to the next town." Her eyes filled with hope. She sat up and hugged him. They dressed quickly and slipped out of the room. The hall was empty and silent. Carlos led Lily down the stairs. They moved fast, but two men blocked their path on the first floor. Carlos froze. One man shoved him against the wall. "You think you can run?" the taller man sneered. Lily gasped and tried to push past, but the other man grabbed her arm. She cried out. Carlos pulled free and kicked at the man's shin. The man cursed and punched Carlos in the face. Carlos stumbled back, blood trickling from his lip. Lily screamed. The men laughed. "Tell your friend to come out," the first man said. "We know he's here." Lily tried to break free. One man grabbed her hair and yanked her head back. She cried and fell to her knees. Carlos scrambled to his feet. "Let her go!" he shouted. The men kicked him down again and knocked him out with a heavy blow. Blood ran into his eyes. He lost track of time. He woke up in a strange room. He sat up and saw Lily across from him, on her knees, hands tied behind her back. The two men stood by the door with guns at their sides. Carlos's heart dropped. He crawled forward. "Lily," he cried. She looked up with tears in her eyes. "They took me," she whispered. Her voice was small and broken. "They said if you fight back, they would kill me." Carlos stood and held out his arms. "I'll do anything," he said. He trembled. "Please don't hurt her." The men laughed. "Your fight is over, pizza boy," the taller man said. "We got orders to bring her back alive. But if you try to stop us, we end her." Lily sobbed. Carlos's legs shook. He sank to the floor beside her, desperate and furious, but too afraid to move. The men left without a word. The door slammed shut. Carlos pressed his cheek to Lily's back. He tried to soothe her hair. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I failed you." She turned her face toward him. The ropes cut into her wrists. "It's not your fault," she said. "They wanted me back. They had no choice." Carlos shook his head. "I had a choice. I should have been stronger." Lily touched his face. "You were strong enough to save me once," she said. "You will save me again." Carlos closed his eyes. He did not know how. He only knew he loved her more than life itself. A car horn blared outside. The men came back and untied Lily. Her wrists were raw and bleeding. Carlos sprang up. "Where are you taking her?" he demanded. The men pushed Lily toward the door. She turned and mouthed, "Be safe." Carlos reached for her. A man slammed his fist into Carlos's stomach. He collapsed to the floor, winded. He saw Lily being led away into a black SUV. The doors closed. The engine roared. The car sped off before he could move. Carlos lay on the ground, pain and fear twisting inside him. He pressed his fist against his mouth. He tasted blood. His tears fell as he thought of Lily's pale face, her last whisper of hope. He dragged himself outside into the night. The street was quiet, empty. He fell to his knees under a street lamp, but the light flickered and died. He wished the world would go dark with him. He did not know what to do next. All he knew was that Lily needed him, and he could not find her. Lily woke in a cold room. A single bulb hung from the ceiling. She saw Marcus standing over her with his arms crossed. His face was hard. She tried to stand, but her legs shook. He turned away. "You ran away," he said. "Do you know how that looks?" Betrayal. She looked at the floor. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I love him." Marcus spat on the floor. "Love, you owe me your loyalty, your house, your name." He slapped her across the face. The sound echoed. Lily clutched her cheek, but she held her head high. "I will never love you," she said. Marcus's eyes flashed. He stepped closer. "You will obey me," he said, "or you will face the consequences." Lily shook. "I can't live like this," she said. "I can't." He silenced her with a heavy fist. She fell backward, hitting the wall. She curled into a ball and whimpered. Marcus stood over her, breathing hard. His anger was a storm. He looked at her broken face. He looked away, shame and rage warring in his eyes. He left the room without a word. Lily lay there, tears mixing with blood and sweat. She felt a deep cold inside her. She did not know if she would ever feel safe again. Carlos found her the next morning. He crept into the mansion through a broken side gate. He saw Marcus's car in the driveway. He slipped inside and followed the voices to an upstairs hallway. He heard Lily crying behind a closed door. He pounded on the wood. "Lily," he called, "it's me." Marcus opened the door a crack and shoved Carlos back. "Get out," he snarled. "You have no right here." Carlos fell to his knees. "Please," he begged, "let me see her." Marcus laughed. "See her? You mean tear her apart again?" He slammed the door in Carlos's face. Carlos kicked the door. He tried to push it open, but Marcus held it shut. He banged his fists until they bled. "Lily!" he screamed. "Lily!" Inside, Lily heard him. She shuffled to the door and pushed it open from her side. She saw Carlos on the floor crying and hurt. She ran to him and fell beside him. She pressed her head to his chest. "I'm here," she whispered. He hugged her and wept. Their reunion was cut short by Marcus's voice upstairs. "Get in here," he shouted. Lily and Carlos froze. Marcus stormed down the stairs, face red, eyes wild. He grabbed Lily by the arm and yanked her up. Carlos jumped and pulled out a small knife he carried for protection. "Stay away," Carlos warned, blade shaking in his hand. Marcus stopped and stared. Lily cried, "Carlos, no!" But Carlos stood firm. He loved her more than anything. Marcus sneered and stepped toward him. "You think you can protect her?" he said. Then he lunged and knocked the knife from Carlos's hand. It clattered on the floor. Carlos backed away. Marcus grabbed Lily and shoved her toward the front door. "You will go with me," he said. Lily's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Carlos, and in her face, he saw fear, love, and sorrow all at once. He wanted to fight, but he was tired, bleeding, and beaten. He could not save her this time. Lily took a step toward Carlos. "Run," he whispered. She shook her head. She did not want him to risk his life anymore. She put her hand on his cheek. "I love you," she said. His knees buckled. He kissed her palm. "I love you," he said back. Marcus barked and forced Lily out the door. Carlos grabbed her hand with one last pull, but the men outside pushed him back. He hit the ground, face first. He heard Lily's sobs as the car door slammed. The engine roared to life. The black SUV sped away, its tires burning rubber on the pavement. Carlos lay on the ground, breathing raggedly. He saw blood on his palms. He tried to stand, but his legs gave out. He closed his eyes and prayed for a miracle. He thought of Lily's voice, her eyes, her hope. That afternoon, a single phone call stopped the sun. Marcus's voice was low when he spoke to Lily's father. "It happened," he said. He paused. "She argued. She fought back. I had no choice." Lily's father listened silently, then said, "Bring her home." Marcus agreed. Lily never heard her father's voice or saw his face again. She fought until the end. Her final words were free and fierce, but her life was small against Marcus's power. He ended her. Carlos found out when a neighbor told him. He ran to the mansion, but the guards refused to let him in. He pounded the gate, tears streaming, screaming her name until his voice failed. That night, Carlos sat under their street lamp. He held a single red rose he had found in Lily's room. He pressed it to his chest and wept, the city silent around him. He cried for her promise, love, and the future they would never share. He did not know how to go on, but he knew one thing. He would carry her heart with him, always. In his sorrow, he found a bitter truth. Love can save you, but power can take everything away. They wanted power. They used money, influence, and even violence to get their way. In the end, the law did catch up with Marcus' charges of assault and wrongful death, forced him into a trial he could not buy off. Once hidden behind a polished suit, his temper was exposed in the courtroom by Lily's friends and witnesses who refused to stay silent. Her father, too, faced scrutiny. Evidence showed he had pressured Marcus, paid off guards, and interfered with investigations. He lost control of the family business and the social standing he treasured. Facing civil suits from Lily's family and criminal investigations for conspiracy, he watched everything he built slip away. Carlos, left with grief, arrived at the courthouse on the day of sentencing. He wore Lily's favorite scarf as a silent promise that her voice would not be forgotten. When the verdict came guilty on all count, she closed his eyes and let the gavel sound carry Lily's justice home. It did not bring her back. It did not erase the sorrow, but it showed that even the richest cannot crush the truth forever. In the quiet moments after the trial, Carlos placed a single rose on Lily's grave and spoke to the wind. They answered for what they did. Now I carry you forward your love, your courage, your fight. Justice was not perfect. It was slow. It could not heal every wound, but it reminded the world that no matter how much money or status you have, you cannot steal another person's life without paying the price.